Hello, I'm the anime viewer 66, and today we're going to be taking a look at Yuri on Ice, the most misnamed anime of 2016. Seriously, everyone thought when they heard the name Yuri on Ice, oh, it's obviously going to be about lesbians ice skating. Well, it is about ice skating, and it definitely is a very gay show, but it's gay in the opposite direction. Start off with our main character, Yuri, a very shy and timid guy who is down on himself, particularly at the beginning. The reason he's so down on himself is because he always looked up to an ice skating champion known as Victor, who is an incredible ice skater that everyone looks up to. He wishes to be one day as great as Victor is, but is having a bit of problem with that. He wasn't able to make it to the finale of the big ice skating competition, and now he's very down on himself about it. Trying to figure out what he should do next, he goes back to his hometown and goes back to his own sort of like home ring, as they call it, the local ice skating ring, and dances his little ice skating dance on the thing that is very similar to Victor's. It's pretty much a direct copy of one of Victor's most famous acts. And little did he know, a bunch of ice skating fangirls, who I swear is supposed to be representative of the fans of this show, are videotaping his performance and then uploaded it to YouTube. Yeah, there's a lot of social media type stuff in this thing, like Instagram and whatnot, and it's actually a kind of cool take and to see how like modern day technology is being influenced into anime and whatnot. But out of that little side note, after it is uploaded to the internet, everyone sees Yuri's incredible rendition of Victor's big ice skating performance, and it actually gets Victor himself to go down to Yuri's hometown and offer to be Yuri's coach. From there on out is just a story of Victor training Yuri and Yuri becoming better and better as time goes on and try to become the very best like no one ever was. This show has two major things going for it. The first of which is that this show is the first ice skating anime, at least to my knowledge, that's been put out there, and they did an amazing job on it. The main reason of which is because the amazing animation they have. Now, I have heard people say that the animation kind of drops in quality as the show goes on, but I disagree. I watched those episodes several times and I never saw a dip in quality. Then again, some people's eyes may be trained better to detect that sort of thing, but to the general audience, I would think, like me, they wouldn't really be able to tell any big difference of quality. The big thing I like about animation as opposed to just like, filming someone in real life doing it is that you can draw attention to whatever thing that you want the audience to pay attention to. If you're wanting them to pay attention to the feet, for example, and how they're moving, you can draw them in such a way that you can get every single detail down on it. The same with the hips or the way the hands move, anything. And it's an amazing thing how they're able to pull it off here. The other big thing that this show has going for it, of course, is all of the gayness, like all of the gayness. The main story in this, besides for the ice skating, is of course following Victor's and Yuri's relationship. From being rivals, well, if you can call it rivals, Victor was always in a league above Yuri, and then going on to being coach and student, to being in a romantic relationship. And everyone wondered, is this like an actual romantic relationship or is it just subtext? And by the end, we got our answer confirmed by the creators, the big kiss, and the wedding ring type thing. It is confirmed that they are a couple, no matter what the people might say. It was just a hug. It was just. No, no. It was a kiss. They had wedding rings. What more does it take you people to make you go on and say, yes, they are a couple? Seriously, it's like Korosami all over again. Yuri as a character is pretty much the ultimate thing of the underdog being raised up to a champion type story. A cliche story to be certain, but still a good one. There's a reason cliches are a thing. They work. But all in all, I find his character to be very refreshing. The idea that someone can be the worst of the worst and through sheer force of will become one of the best is an uplifting one, and one that makes everyone feel a bit better about themselves. That no matter how bad you may be, if you just work hard enough, hey, there's nowhere to go but up. Victor's character is sort of a unique one, being that he is a master ice skater and everyone looks up to him. His big hurdle in this is, well, something that not a lot of people talk about, the fact that he has to learn how to become a good coach. And by the end, he does come into his own, the same as Yuri does. And I think that they did a good job showing that even though the people who are actually doing the sport, yes, they're having problems like trying to figure out the best way to do whatever it is their sport requires, a coach's job is also very hard, learning how to motivate people in just the right way, and every coach has their different sort of ways of doing it. And I think the way they showed that progression in Victor was very good. The last character I want to talk about is Yurio. Okay, seriously. Yurio is basically Vegeta to Yuri's Goku. Like, seriously, he starts out as the guy you think is going to be a total jerk, but by the end, he's like, seriously, my favorite character. Like, I love Victor and Yuri and everything, but Yurio is my favorite character in this entire show. He is freaking awesome. His whole character art is figuring out what makes him special, what he needs to do to become great, and also, more importantly than probably that, is his willingness to accept others. Like, he's very cold and distant to other people at start, and the only people he really gets close to is his grandfather. But at the end, he actually has, well, for lack of a better word, friends, and it's actually a very touching way to put it out at the end. And the fact of what happens to him at the end, which I won't ruin, but needless to say, it is wonderful. This show had a large castment of background characters that were all very interesting. I was afraid with so many that it was going to kind of get lost, and the majority of the background characters are other people that are ice skaters. But I think they did a good job showing just enough time for each character when they were ice skating of why they were doing what they were doing, what they were in this competition for. And it always made you feel like, hey, even if another person wins this, they all are fighting for something unique to them. And if someone else wins, it's still good. It's still like deserved for them. And I like that. The last thing I want to talk about is I have noticed a pattern here recently. Whenever there is a show that is targeted more towards the female demographic and it becomes popular, ever since Free first came out, there has been a sizable contingent of usually male fans who will say, this show isn't as good as it should be, or this show shouldn't be as popular as it is because it's just like fan service and Fujoshi bait. I don't see why people like this thing, Baka. Okay, seriously, I am fine with being critical of a show. Heck, that's what I do here online every time I get on here. I try to be as critical or as praising to a show as I can, depending on what I think they deserve. But the simple fact of the matter is, these people are hating on a show simply because it isn't a show that panders directly to them, and that because it doesn't directly pander to them and it's popular, they don't want it to be a thing. Like with High Earth Defense Club Love, which was another sort of Fujoshi bait type show, it was, well, not as popular and therefore didn't have as much hate put on it. It's only when a show is popular that these overzealous fanboys tend to take a grievance on it. I don't know why this is. I get that popular shows have always been like thrown a lot of hate on, like Naruto and Bleach and whatnot, but it seems to have been a bigger problem throughout these last few years with the whole idea of, hey, let's make a show that isn't just targeted towards a male demographic, and they've been making more of those, and most people have been okay with it. But there's just this tinge of anime fanboys that tend to be mad about it, and personally, I don't understand it. I see a bunch of it on like videos of episodes or different things that people are talking about the show or reviews of the show or whatever, and I just don't understand the hate towards it. I understand if you want to criticize the show like for its faults and whatnot. Like I said, some people tend to not find the animation at the end of the show is good. That's fine. But to just hate on it for no reason that you want something to hate on seems a bit childish to me. So at the end of the day, I give this show 5 stars out of 5 and consider it the best anime of 2016. So until next time, I am the Anime Viewer 66. Thank you and good night.